Good morning, Gina and friends. Today we've got someone so special, Rhiannon Reynolds. She's our vice president of operations for Innisfree Hotel. Big job, big job. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. And it's so how's 2026 going for you
Uh,
and all of really you cover most of the Innisfree world with all of our hotels.
things are going well. There's a lot happening in 2026. I think it's been kind of a whirlwind so far, with new hotels and transitions and exciting initiatives and people joining our team. And honestly, I can't believe it's June. And like you said, I know it will be December tomorrow. So.
I really liked during our leadership, she did this wonderful, it was like a tagline, but I think it's a tagline that kind of glues us together. One Innisfree.
One Innisfree. That's right.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I think that if something is good for one part of Innisfree, it's good for all of Innisfree. And an important thing for us all to remember is that we're not just working towards an individual goal in our individual department, but we're working towards always creating a better, stronger, healthier, happier Innisfree.
Yeah.
Right? So any place that you can be helpful or help it's important. Any time that you can be empathetic or patient with someone else who might be struggling in some way, if you can be helpful to another part of Innisfree, it's your responsibility to be helpful.
I love it. I love it. And I always think about that when I get a phone call or, an email of people needing help. We are one Innisfree. It doesn't matter what role you have.
Right.
And especially if you know the information or you know how to guide them, why not, right? And I think that's healthy for us.
Well, you're certainly a great example of that because you have such institutional knowledge that often you are pulled into tasks that are not part of your core job, but you embody one Innisfree, which is probably why we get along so well, right?
There we are. There we are. And I love it because once it's in your blood, operations and the hotels, and it's always in your blood. So she gives me the opportunity to just kind of, dip my toes in there every now and then. And then I get so caught up, and I'm like, okay, I'm overdoing it now. It's like, okay,
Dial it back.
yeah, dial it back, reel it in. But I love that. I love one Innisfree, and I think that's a wonderful way of like when we go about our day and we, oftentimes even if we're, next door to each other, we forget, that we have our sister properties next door and that there's so much resources that's there
Right.
that we can tap into. So I love it. So one Innisfree. Yeah.
That's
So
right.
so today we covered the virtue of reverence. It's a very soft virtue to me, and it is hard. It's a hard virtue. It's a virtue that you don't think of every day, not like patience or honesty, right? So what are your thoughts about the virtue of reverence?
Well, like we discussed, I think it is a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Because reverence to me is a bigger word than it's like a bigger, more powerful feeling than you might experience on a random Tuesday, right? Reverence is more of a special amount of care and thought and impact to your life. So often our virtues are something that you really experience, frequently.
That's right.
Right? And reverence, I think, is more special, saved for more special big moments. So
That's right. Yeah, and Rachel did such a good job of it, and there was a lot of words to it, and I have to like read it 2 or 3 times, the tiles that come with the virtue of reverence. But if you get a chance, go to Beekeeper because Elizabeth does such a good job of tying it. This time she tied it into the garden and nature of how, you can do no harm. Reverence is a quiet place that you invite people to, and you take a pause, and it was just beautiful how she tied that in. It just kind of came full circle. So do we have any shout outs to our team this week?
We always have shout outs to the team, but how can I pick just individuals to shout out to? I think what encourages me the most is seeing how attentive to the details, how particularly when I look at our hotel GMs, our restaurant GMs,
Oh my
how I keep using the same phrase, dialed in. I don't want to say it again, but how tuned in they are to just everything that's going on. If you call them, they know exactly what's happened at their property over the weekend. They know how many rooms they've sold. They know how many rooms they're going to sell tonight. They know how far they are from budget, despite it being June 1st. I mean, everyone is just at the top of their game. I really feel like we have such a strong team here at the home office, out at the hotels. What an amazing time, honestly, to be a part of Innisfree, right? What an amazing time for me to be in this role when we have such a strong group of folks all around us.
That's right. And I think more than ever, we're also so engaged in our community. I see all of our hotels doing what they can to serve the community that we exist in.
I mean, I think you have to find what speaks to you, right? And sometimes you have to try out a few things to find the right group of people or the right fit for what makes your heart happy, right? But, if gardening doesn't mean anything to you, then that's not your passion. Then you shouldn't be working at the garden as your way of giving back to the community. But if gardening is your passion, then what a fantastic way to give back, right? But I think a thing that holds people back is just the anxiety about new things, new places. How is this going to work? How am I going to fit in? And, I think overcoming that little bit of fear is the key to getting involved in anything in your community. Like, just go. It doesn't matter if you're awkward the first time. It doesn't matter if you don't know anyone the first time.
That's right.
And then also don't be afraid to try something else if the first thing you try is not your favorite thing, right? Like, everybody can find a place that will make them feel good giving back into their community, whether it's children or senior citizens or the environment, or, I mean, there's literally, homeless, developmentally disabled, all of these different avenues of ways that you can give back and be a part of your community, and always making the world like just a little bit better every day.
Yeah. And I think the Hive Foundation is a great resource for that, where we're connecting, Innisfree hotels with what we do with our community, and team, you have to remember that Innisfree Hotels allows the Hive Foundation to do what we do in the community on your behalf. So, if you connect with us, and, there's so many of the, organizations that we strongly support, whether it's with youth, with the, the unhoused, the, food insecurities, educational challenges, and, family. I mean, we're connected. We're connected. So, and, and I'm glad that, with One Innisfree and an initiative that, we give, we empower our properties to be able to choose a charity in their community that they can engage in.
It seems very obvious you have a passion for inspiring young people to, learn and grow. You spoke at the Project Search. What personally kind of compelled you to share that talk?
I have a long personal history with developmentally disabled individuals in the workplace. So my cousin, Rich, who is 60, I believe, turned 60 this year, worked at the exact same McDonald's location in St. Petersburg, Florida for 30 years.
Wow.
30 years. He retired last year.
Oh.
But even when I graduated high school, which is quite a long time ago, he had enough money from his job that he bought his own airline ticket to fly to Illinois and watch me graduate high school, right?
Wow.
Like working at that McDonald's, you know, empowered Rich to have an independent life.
That's great.
He lived in an apartment, you know, he had his bowling on Friday nights and his movies on Saturdays and the Publix that he could walk to, and he had his own money. He really felt he had a full life. He has a full life. He retired last year from that McDonald's. An important part of the equation is that McDonald's had an enthusiastic, reliable employee for 30 years, right? So it's not without benefit to the employer. There's a significant benefit to the employer. So this to me is such a win-win scenario when you as an employer can help provide someone with an independent life that they might not otherwise have. And you, and as a benefit, have an employee, a loyal, dependable, you know, happy to be there employee. And, you know, often these employees who come to us through vocational rehab, through Project Search, they're filling the gaps, you know, they're filling important gaps in our hotel ecosystems, right? I mean, maybe they only want to work 10 hours a week.
Right. Yeah.
It'd be very difficult for you to hire an employee to work 10 hours a week,
That's right.
right? It just fills an important gap. And I just always go back to all the benefits to Rich from that relationship with McDonald's, and how can I be a part of that benefit for somebody else? You know, how can I help make that happen? So yes, under my tenure at Hilton Garden Inn Fort Walton, we became the first Project Search site in Okaloosa County. I think the still only Project Search site in Okaloosa County. And
I think so.
that team is very, very close
They
to my
love it.
heart. Yeah, that Project Search location. But I love, you know, there's just so much joy when you go and watch the interns graduate. Like, I mean, it's not a dry eye in the house.
No, I always tell the banquet people,
time.
you have a box of Kleenex.
Always. There's so many ways, even if you can't have a Project Search site at your location, that it's difficult to do that. There's so many ways to get involved in this world. I really encourage everyone to get involved in this world.
Yeah. And I think like a hotel setting is so ideal because it's like almost so many different elements. You know, you've got accounting, administration, sales and marketing, your guest facing, roles, F&B. And so there's something for everyone, you know, and
importantly, if something doesn't work out, if you hire someone to work in the laundry and that's a bad fit, try the kitchen.
That's it.
If the kitchen's not a good fit, try maintenance.
That's it.
You know, try reservations. Like you exactly said it. A hotel is a microcosm. We have so many different environments that people can work in. You know, even for anyone who starts a new job in the hotel industry. Like, if something isn't a good fit, try something else. There's a lot of avenues.
You know, shout out to Project Search. So thank you, Rhiannon, for spending some time with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and guess what? We have a treat. So we'll be able to see her in action during our Project Search end of year celebration. So until next week, aloha.
It's a national program that helps young adults transition to employment, and these students graduated from the program today, and our Copeland Welch was there.
Young people with disabilities can often be overlooked, but Project Search gives them the opportunity to hone their skills and get ready for the workforce. And here at the Hilton Hotel on Pensacola Beach, that's exactly what they did.
This was actually the first thing I learned while I was at the Hampton Inn for my first internship, just restocking items.
Project Search. It's a 9-month program that helps young adults with disabilities learn skills they'll need for their career. For Johnny Velez, it's done just that and more.
I was always someone who just stays away from everyone.
Now, he's public speaking and radiating confidence. He credits Project Search.
There's a lot of things I feel like would have went differently if I haven't done this program. Being able to be part of something that I couldn't really find myself to do, and also finding an interest that could happily be part of my future.
Leah Koki works for the Hilton Hotel and has guided the interns since the beginning.
They are so nervous. Nobody wants to talk when they first come in. Everybody's they had that wide-eyed look.
She says now, 9 months later, it's a very different story. Charzell Richardson tells me he's learned a lot from teachers like Miss Koki.
They're really kind and helpful to me.
The hospitality industry gives the students the chance to work hands-on with customers and behind the scenes.
My first rotation was the banquets area. My second rotation was the laundry area at the Hampton Inn. And my third area is the Riptide's Kitchen at the Holiday Inn.
The program is expecting its largest class yet next year, with 42 students enrolled.
With employers in our community, it gives us an opportunity to show what they can do, and they just become very highly skilled, marketable, talented young adults looking for work.
Many of these students have already been offered jobs. They said this opportunity helped them feel prepared to enter the workforce. Reporting from Pensacola Beach, I'm Copeland Welch, WEAR News.